With ABC News. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Great. So we hear they lit one rocket and they're planning on another. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that South Korean government is seeing what they say are preparations for another probably intercontinental ballistic missile launch. This is the top end of the North Korean missile capability, and they are perfecting it. The last one that they launched on the 4th of July went high and far, and this is the missile that they hope will be the ultimate deterrent to the United States itself, because if it is operative, if they can miniaturize these nuclear weapons, they will have a nuclear deterrent over American cities on the American homeland throughout most of the lower 48.
What's the bigger perspective here? It seems like North Korea is fast and furious with these missile launches. What's their objective, and or do they even have one?
They do. It's actually quite a rational program that they've got. This is, in a way, what they call asymmetric warfare. They're a weak country. They're poor. They don't make anything that anybody wants. They're clinging to this country without any real allies in the world. So they want to develop a very credible nuclear deterrent to stop the United States from doing what they saw the U.S. do in Iraq, in Libya, and elsewhere. Regime change. They want to protect their regime, and they think this is the best way to doing it. As many American officials have said, they need to be persuaded that the opposite is true, that nukes won't preserve their regime, but guarantee its destruction. So far, they aren't believing that.
So China has always been somewhat of a linchpin. A lot of people think in America and in the White House, within different administrations, that China holds the key to solving this problem. Where is China now on all this?
China does hold the key. They provide most of North Korean trade and especially energy. They could turn the lights out up there, whatever lights are actually on. And right now, Xi Jinping and the Chinese leadership is angry at Kim Jong-un. They see this defiant young man who is provoking them as well as everybody else, throwing a tantrum essentially. But what they don't want is the collapse of his regime. They don't want the refugee catastrophe that would pour across their borders, and they don't want an American victory, which they think it would be, right on their borders. So what they're trying to do is walk a fine line, get them to stop this without bringing them down. So far, that's not working either.
And President Trump and the U.S. administration wants to blame China for everything North Korea does.
Well, and President Trump has a point. He knows that trade between China and North Korea has actually been increasing year on year. They're giving more money to North Korea. I was there last year. The thing that surprised me most about Pyongyang was that it didn't seem like a city under crippling sanctions. It was a kind of a boom town. Lots of new construction, new restaurants and clubs and a gym. I mean, I was quite struck that the money was clearly coming in. Only a few people get it, but the money still comes in, and that's China. So he has a point that they could do a lot more than they are.
Where is Russia with all of this?
Well, Russia right now is at odds with the United States on so many issues that it is poisoning our ability to work with Moscow on North Korea. You know, we just took away several of their consulates. There's the whole Russia investigation. Those are legitimate domestic issues for the United States, but President Putin is clearly standing aside. He, in fact, has instructed his diplomats at the United Nations not to support further sanctions against North Korea. So he's saying, if you want me to play ball on this issue, you got to come a little bit more towards me on other issues, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen either. He has some power over North Korea, certainly a vote in the UN Security Council, but really China remains the key.
Terry Moran, ABC News chief foreign correspondent in Seoul, South Korea. I got about 30 seconds. Is this going to play out where they keep saber rattling, or is this a real threat of war somewhere along the line?
I think it's a real threat of war somewhere along the line. At some point, the United States, no president could really tolerate the kind of capacity that Kim Jong-un is getting, nuclear weapons on ballistic missiles that could incinerate American cities. That is a red line.
Terry Moran in Seoul, South Korea. Thank you for your time, sir.
You bet.
6:50.